Twitter shares moving a bit higher on a report in the Washington Post saying that Twitter's board plans to comply with Elon Musk's demand for internal data by offering access to its full fire hose. That's more than 500 million tweets posted each day. Now, this is according to a source. The company has not responded to request for comment. We have reached out to them, but this would potentially end the billionaire's standoff. Elon Musk did say that he would pull out of his $44 billion offer to buy the company if he did not get access to this information.
Well, I'm not surprised. Are you? After pointing out just a couple of days ago that Elon Musk had Twitter bent over a barrel, and there's almost no chance that Twitter would take this to court lest they be exposed for massive, repeated securities fraud, allegedly, Twitter has apparently done the logical thing, the least painful thing, and will give Elon Musk and his team access to their hate stream. Wait, sorry, I wasn't talking about the internal employees. I mean their data stream of all their users, in an attempt to substantiate Twitter's claims that less than 5% of their daily monetizable active users are bots. This is not likely to end well for Twitter. It's almost certain that Elon Musk will find some discrepancies and be able to negotiate the deal price lower. This will be a win for everybody because the alternative is Twitter ending up in court, having all this data exposed and then getting themselves in even deeper shit. So let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store, so check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. The Tesla stock seesaw continues, up today over 1%, more than $8 per share over the last 5 days, down 1%, last 1 month down almost 8%, last 6 months down almost 30%, year to date down nearly 40%, still the bargain of the fucking century in my opinion. Tesla stock today bucking the trend, the Nasdaq 100 down almost 1%, Alphabet, Google's parent company, barely moving, Amazon down 1.5%, Apple down 0.5%, Rivian up 0.25%, and Lucid Motors up well over 3%. So now let's move on to the Jeff Bezos owned Washington Post article claiming that Elon Musk will be given access to Twitter's fire hose of data. Then we'll see some incredibly poor takes from the mainstream finance media. Imagine that. And I'll whip out my crystal ball and tell you what I think is going to happen from here. Here we are on the Washington Post, quote, "In reversal, Twitter plans to comply with Musk's demands for data. The billionaire is in a protracted battle with the company over information about spam and fake accounts. Now, who on earth could possibly have seen this compliance coming from Twitter? Why is it? After flat out refusing to provide the data that Elon was requesting, despite the fact that they've publicly admitted that closing this deal is in the best interest of Twitter shareholders and they were the ones holding up the deal, they were the missing link in the chain, they were the ones causing the deal not to progress, they were the ones putting the deal at risk. Why would they suddenly do a massive backflip? Spoiler alert. This is why they would do a massive backflip. They've realized that Elon Musk isn't bluffing here. It's really important to see the data, and if they don't provide it, they'll end up in court. All the data will be available anyway for the courts to see, and Twitter is likely to get completely and utterly because they get called out for making fraudulent statements to the SEC quarter after quarter, claiming that to the best of their knowledge, the number of bots on their website, in terms of daily monetizable active users, is less than 5%. Now, this is pure speculation, but I did kind of see this one coming. It made absolutely no sense at all that Twitter would withhold this information from Elon Musk unless they knew that they'd been lying to the SEC. And now, again, pure speculation, they've thought to themselves, what's the lesser of two evils? In which scenario do we get less f***ed in the face? Ending up in court, having the entire world, the legal system expose our fraudulent claims to the SEC, or do we just give Elon and his team the data, keep it out of the public eye, and ultimately come up with some absurd excuse as to why the deal price has now been negotiated lower? Oh, it's nothing to do with the bots, Elon, and that's all fine, but, for other reasons, we've now negotiated the deal price lower. Good thing you didn't actually get to see the data or any evidence that we may have been making fraudulent statements to the SEC quarter after quarter. After a weeks-long impasse, Twitter's board plans to comply with Elon Musk's demands for internal data by offering access to its full fire hose, the massive stream of data comprising more than 500 million tweets posted each day, obviously 420 million of those being from spam bots. According to a person familiar with the company's thinking, this is an interesting wording. This doesn't sound like somebody who knows Twitter is going to comply because they know Twitter's going to comply, but instead somebody who thinks they know how Twitter thinks and therefore thinks that Twitter's going to give this information up. Could be wrong. Let's continue reading the article, but just a bit of a caveat. The move aims to end a standoff with the billionaire who has threatened to pull out of his $44 $54 billion deal to buy Twitter unless the company provides access to the data he says is necessary to evaluate the number of fake users on the platform. The information could be provided as soon as this week, the person said. Currently, some 24 companies pay for access to the Trove, which comprises not only a real-time record of tweets, but the devices they tweet from, as well as information about the accounts that tweet. Musk's legal team contends the data stream is essential for understanding the amount of spam and bot activity on its platform, a figure that could influence the company's ad revenue, according to a letter sent to Twitter on Monday. Completely fair points, by the way. I mean, this data is essential, especially when there's discrepancies between what Twitter has publicly been stating and the mountain of anecdotal evidence that suggests something to the contrary. Musk has said the deal is on hold until he secures the information, adding to speculation he's trying to pull out or renegotiate his purchase for a lower price. When he signed his initial deal to buy the company in April, he waived the right to look deeply at Twitter's financials and internal workings. The purchase agreement requires that Musk go through with the deal unless he can show the company misled him or a major event has changed its value. Anyone getting the feeling that after Musk and his team look at this data that they might find evidence of being misled? I think so. Twitter's leaders are skeptical of Musk's ability to use the data to find previously undetected information, aka Twitter thinks their brains are bigger than that of Elon and his team. Wonder how that ends. Any guesses? Let me know below. The data stream has been available for years to companies that pay Twitter for the ability to analyze it to find patterns and insights in the daily conversation. They, along with some analysts and Silicon Valley insiders, say that Musk is using the data request as a pretext to wiggle out of the deal or negotiate a lower price. Now, no fucking shit, Sherlock, obviously. If Twitter has misled the public and Elon Musk, the deal will be renegotiated, or in the worst case, Elon could walk. But there's so many dingbats out there who think that the entire discussion around bots is simply an excuse for Elon to back out of the deal or renegotiate. It's not. Something doesn't add up here. Every single person on the platform of Twitter, anecdotally, sees way more than 5% of activity on there from bots. Yet Twitter says 5%. This is a normal thing to want to check out. Elon's not trying to save money for the sake of saving money or get out of the deal for the sake of getting out of the deal. Free speech matters too much. He really wants this deal to close. But if he's been misled by Twitter, he's well within his rights to renegotiate. There's so many bad takes on this at the moment, it's just embarrassing. The spam activity is important to his team because if Twitter is underestimating spam on its service, the company's estimates for how many users could be shown ads would be smaller, affecting revenue. No shit, Sherlock. Very important point. In the Monday letter addressed to Twitter's general counsel, Musk's lawyers accused Twitter of refusing to provide information about spam and fake accounts that the billionaire, who is the world's richest man, why even say this? Has been requesting since May 9th, an entire fucking month. Musk must have a complete and accurate understanding of the very core of Twitter's business model, its active user base, stated the lawyers. Quote, Twitter's latest offer to simply provide additional details regarding the company's own testing methodologies, whether through written materials or verbal explanations, is tantamount to refusing Musk's data requests. End quote. A Twitter spokesperson referred the Washington Post to the company's Monday statement. Quote, Twitter has and will continue to cooperatively share information with Mr. Musk to consummate the transaction in accordance with the terms of the merger agreement. Now, this wasn't exactly accurate at the time. Twitter was refusing to provide the info to Elon, but obviously this has now changed. And now let's see if the folks in the mainstream finance media have anything of any value to say, or if they're completely wrong, off the mark, and misleading the masses of people who think that they're reliable sources of information and reasonable opinions.
And that the source in the article says that all of that data could be provided as soon as this week. So we are waiting for comment from the company, but the question is whether Elon Musk finds what he is looking for in this data and whether he potentially uses this to negotiate for a lower price. Just want to point out that Twitter shares are at around $40 and he is paying $54.20 per share for the company.
Or, Julia, as Casey Newton of Platformer puts it on Twitter on this report, if Twitter is trying to call his bluff. Say, yeah, okay, so you don't want to pay it before because of this issue now? Well, here's your information. What's your excuse going to be this time?
Incredibly bad take. Let's think about this for a moment. If Twitter knew they were in the right and that they could substantiate their claims that less than 5% of the users were bots, do you really think they would have spent an entire month flat out refusing to provide Elon Musk the data he was requesting so his team could verify and substantiate Twitter's claims? If Twitter was really able to just call Elon's bluff, why would they fuck around for an entire month? They've already said publicly this deal is in the best interest of Twitter shareholders. So why delay the deal for a month? Makes absolutely no fucking sense.
Yes, and look, he did, as part of the terms of the deal, say that he did not need to do due diligence. So there was this question of whether they needed to give him any additional information. But the full fire hose of tweets, that's a lot of data for him to sift through. So curious to see how this could potentially impact any sale price. But the Twitter board has made it very clear they do want to close this deal at the price point that they negotiated with him, $54.20.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
All right, time now for your daily Musk minute. Ask and ye shall receive. Or if you're Elon Musk, relentlessly publicly criticize and tweet at a company, and they will eventually comply to your demands. That's what's happening. According to the Washington Post, Twitter will hand over all the data that Elon is looking for, or access to its, quote, fire hose of more than 500 million daily tweets, in order to determine if that number of bots on the platform is around 5%, which is what Twitter has claimed from the beginning of this process, or closer to 20%, which is where the Tesla CEO pegs that number. Now, the good news is this deal appears to be moving forward, the $44 billion acquisition to take it private. The bad news is this, Rochelle. Tech columnists say right now that he won't actually get the number that he needs, which is the internal numbers that he waived when he waived due diligence, because there are probably thousands, maybe millions of Twitter users who have accounts, who are real, that don't actually tweet. So it's likely this will still go on several more rounds.
Well, I mean, this is a case of buyer beware. If you don't do your due diligence, you're going to run into situations like this.
Oh boy, I feel kind of bad for this person. I'm guessing clueless clown has no idea about the deal, but is brought in to share her opinion, her uninformed opinion here, and make some idiotic comments. This isn't about whether or not Elon Musk did his due diligence. I don't understand how people don't get this. Part of Elon Musk's due diligence was relying on public filings from Twitter, the company, to the Securities and Exchange Commission, claiming that less than 5% of their daily active users are bots. Yet this doesn't seem to add up. It appears that Twitter may potentially have misled the public, and therefore, you guessed it, Elon Musk, when he did his due diligence. The argument that Elon waived his right for a deep dive for due diligence is completely invalid if it turns out that Twitter has deceived the general public and made fraudulent statements with the SEC. I can't believe that some people just don't get this. It's almost as if they just don't like Elon Musk and they want to see him fail, and therefore it's like, haha, you waived your right to due diligence, you're and nothing can penetrate their dome. They've already made up their mind. So a relevant point that maybe Twitter was misleading the public, they lied, they committed securities fraud. Oh, that's not a valid excuse. He waived his due diligence. Sucked in Elon Musk. I just don't get it.
I mean, look, a lot of people were wondering, is he just bringing this up as a way to get out of the deal? Because initially, when he first showed interest in Twitter, he said he wanted to buy it to get rid of the bot. So,
is this an awkward time to remind everybody that the primary reason for purchasing Twitter was to uphold and maintain freedom of speech? Bots, secondary. Monetizing the website, secondary. Everything secondary to freedom of speech.
A lot of people were like, well, why is this now an issue about how many bots they have when you intended to sort of clear up this mess in the first place? But I think he wanted to know just how big of a mess it was. It'll be interesting to see if any other hurdles come up, if they are able to settle this bot issue, if there might be a next hurdle that might come up that might throw a spanner in the works.
Yeah, and I think even just looking at the share, at the reaction in the stock today, what Twitter up just slightly, up around 0.7%, still showing and trading at $40, just above $40 a share, significantly lower from the $54 mark that what he agreed to buy the company at. So it shows that there's still skepticism out on Wall Street, just the fact that we will see this deal go through. To me, it looks like Musk is trying to come up with every excuse in order not to go through with the deal.
The poor takes just keep on coming. I just don't understand how people don't get this. Elon is trying to do everything within his power to close the deal. Free speech matters so much to Elon Musk that he's willing to spend $40+ billion just to ensure that people can freely share their thoughts, opinions, and ideas. He's not looking for an excuse to walk away from the deal. He's looking for a reason to close the deal. That's why he needs to confirm what Twitter's been saying is actually true. And again, I want to be clear. Of course, Elon can use this to negotiate. If Twitter says 5% and it turns out it's 10%, obviously that massively affects the deal, the price, the turnaround plan, monetization, everything. But he's not trying to get out of this deal. So many pea-brain people sharing their thoughts. Oh, well, the stock's down now. The market crashed, so he doesn't want to pay as much as he was paying. It's got absolutely nothing to do with that at all. Elon wants this deal closed. He wants to buy Twitter. He'll do everything he possibly can, but he's not going to allow Twitter to fuck him in the face while he's asleep. I mean, fair enough, right?
Now he has this data. He's getting what the Post is saying over with more than 500 million posts a day. But Dave, to your point, he still is probably not going to be able to figure out the exact number of, or percentage, I should say, of bots on the platform. So a lot of questions that are still unanswered. I don't really know whether or not we will, or he will be able to determine that before he either goes through with the deal or scraps it all together and pays that breakup fee or the fine.
Yeah, still feels like he is pushing for a lower price. To your point, no arbitrage plays that the deal will go through at $54.20. Still feels like from the very beginning, Elon is hoping to lower that price now that the reality is set in that he was probably massively overpaying at $54.20. But the next couple of weeks should tell us a lot. But the report from the Post said that that data could come as early as the next couple of days.
There we go again with the old Elon was overpaying, so he's just trying to negotiate the price lower because he was overpaying, not because it's possible that Twitter was lying, misleading, and committed securities fraud. Of course, I'm probably completely clueless as well and have no idea what's going to happen, what is happening, and why things are happening the way they're happening, but I'm always willing to take a risk, so here are my predictions about how things play out from here. Twitter provides data to Elon and his team. Elon and his team discover that there's a discrepancy. It's very likely that they'll be able to substantiate the fact that far more than 5% of Twitter's claimed daily active monetizable users are bots, in which case they'll renegotiate the purchase price lower based on those metrics. There'll be a direct relationship between the increase in percent of bots versus what people were told and the new price. This will be more science than art. In addition, Twitter's going to do their best to ensure that Elon doesn't talk publicly or say anything out loud about the true number of bots on the website, because if he does, they're probably going to be in serious trouble. Again, fraud, SEC, 5%. If it's not true, big trouble. I think Twitter's really going to want to close this deal and do so at such a great price that Elon Musk is willing to not make a big fuss about this whole debacle. Of course, I could be wrong. I'm giving it about a 0.0004269% chance that this deal closes at the original price. I'm also giving this about a 69.420% chance that the deal does close at a lower price and a much lower probability that Elon walks, then eventually comes back and the deal closes at an even lower price. Of course, I have no idea what I'm talking about, just like the folks in the mainstream media, so only time will tell. And should the deal close and close at a lower price, this will be very bullish for Tesla stock, although it shouldn't be in my opinion, but you know, the stock market, brain damage, doesn't like uncertainty. So until this deal is certain and until the final price is confirmed and then people can figure out, oh, does Elon need to sell more Tesla stock? Oh no, he doesn't, okay, no problems. I think Tesla stock may remain on a discount until this deal is finalized. Let me know what you guys and girls think. Will Elon and his team be able to demonstrate that Twitter has a much higher number of bots than they've been claiming? If so, what's the true percent of bots? 6%, 7, 10? 20? 69? Let me know in the comments below. And finally, what price do you think the deal will actually close at, if it closes at all? And lastly, don't forget you can join Patreon with the card in the corner or the link at the pinned comment, gain access to a load of exclusive content, tons of perks, plus instant up-to-date access to my Tesla stock price targets out over the next decade. See you over on Patreon. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.